Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF. This is episode 257. And luckily, and we thank God for this, that we've been able to do this for 254 weeks in a row. We have not missed a week, and we're really excited about that. And it's like something we do now. It's like we get up and we wake up and brush our teeth. It's like every Friday we're doing this broadcast, and we've got one of the best, and we always have the best on this broadcast. It's just I keep adding, I keep finding great people. But Joe and I have connected over the years through a great group called the Fast Forward Movement every week. And Joe is what I call the bi-coastal realtor team leader, having teams in New Jersey and California. We're going to get right into that. Joe, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Dave. This is awesome. I saw you having everybody on Real Estate Talk, but not me. I was sad for a while, but then we finally connected. So here I am. I was like, am I good enough? Please.
You
Let me
are
give me a shot, coach.
That's the way we go. Let's go to the videotape there. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team. Good morning, everybody. As I said, this is Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode 257, and we have the man, not the myth, not the legend, because I know who he is, and he's a legend because of what he's doing. But it's Joe Oz. Hey, Joe, thanks so much for coming on. As I said, you know, it's an honor to have you here, man. I've watched you. You give of yourself so much. And it's so freaking cool, the group that we work with, the group that you're on to all the time. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, man. So I have one question before we get into our conversation for today. And I ask this of everyone that comes on the broadcast. And that is a really simple question, is what does TGIF stand for?
I believe it stands for Thank God It's Friday.
You're really good, man. You know, but you know what? You might be a bi-coastal realtor, but you got the answer wrong. I'm sorry. But 95% of the people that come on do get it wrong. So you're in great company. It means, thank God it's finale. So,
nice.
So that's how it works out. It's just, hey, look, I can do whatever I want. It's my show. Anyway,
Yeah,
Joe,
totally.
thanks for coming on. Yeah, and you've had one heck of a great career when you started. I mean, before you got in, you did a lot of different things. And I believe it started a little bit with music. Talk to me about your story and how you got from that point to being that bi-coastal team leader and like just being a badass in this business.
Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, dude, thanks. But you know how to break the ice, man. Thanks for making me laugh. This is yeah, man. I think how did it all start? Yeah, so I just I was really into music, man. I like a lot of people, I guess. I grew up about 40 miles south of Manhattan at the Jersey Shore, and the Jersey Shore, the coastline, New Jersey Transit, that train goes right into Manhattan. In the mid to late 90s, there's a really cool music scene. It was like the I call it the tail end of like CBGBs and like Sunday matinees at CBGBs, and Coney Island High on St. Mark's Place and the Wetlands and all these really cool clubs, and it was just like really awesome. It was like I felt like on the weekends I'd go take that train in the city, and I just felt like I was in a different world. Like the people that were there did not look like the people I was going to school with every day, in high school. And just got super into music, and I started a record label in 1999, just started putting out my friends' records, and that turned into like me going on tour with my friends' bands. Like it started in like stinky vans with a bunch of stinky guys going down to Florida, playing like 20 shows and coming back. And then it went into working for bigger bands and getting on tour buses and going on like, North America tours for 60 days, staying in hotels and things like that. And it was really cool. It was really, really, really fun. And I broke off in my early 20s. I broke off from touring because I don't know, it's hard. It's really hard to go on the road. And so I did everything from selling t-shirts to tour managing, like making sure the band is on the bus at bus call. So we're on our way to the next city. It's pretty cool, man. Time I met my wife, like it was pretty wild, but it was cool. And I wanted to get out of that. And then I started, I had a small record label, like just like like sourcing bands and putting them in the studio and paying for it and producing actually like compact discs and vinyl records and getting them distributed. And it was super fun. We didn't make any money. It was, but it was super fun and it was really rad.
Absolutely.
And then I guess what happened next was we started a distribution company. So we started a music distribution company. So from all that touring and going around the country, I met a lot of people, and there were a lot of indie bands who like needed their records in record stores. And believe it or not, the younger people listening, there used to be like record stores. Records used to come out on Tuesdays. You used to go into record stores and buy records, and it was really awesome. It's like a ritual, like a record coming out on a Tuesday, and you buying it and going home and putting it on your record player, reading the lyrics and things like that. And so we were a part of that industry, and ultimately, like, we saw it falling apart pretty quickly. Like my first year, so what we would do is we would just, if you were a band and we thought you were cool, we like would either buy 30 records from you or 30 CDs, or we would take them on consignment and we would sell them to all the accounts that we had for record stores around the country. And when we got paid, we would pay you and we'd order more. And then I started out of my basement in Ocean Grove, New Jersey. We made like, I don't know, I think we grossed like 30 grand that year. The next year we grossed $1 million, and we got an office outside Philadelphia.
Holy shit.
The big major record labels opened up with us. Like we had relationships with a lot of indie stores, and it went really well for 2 to 4 years, and Spotify, not even Spotify, man, like Napster back then, like Napster. Yep. And like these things, like I saw the writing on the walls, and we should have pivoted to, I always make a joke, like you can't download a t-shirt. We should have just made merchandise, or, like we could have, but like ultimately that whole industry really changed, and we had a really cool business. We had like interns coming from Temple University and in Philadelphia, and we were like, we were doing it, man. It was pretty wild, but we had no clue what we were doing. Holy crap. We were just like, it was wild. Nobody knew how to run a business. And we had like a warehouse full of like merchandise and records, and we're shipping all over the country and around the world. And we opened up the first 3 record stores on Amazon in Europe. And so we had to fly to Germany, to London, to all these countries, and like going to banks and open up bank accounts. It was pretty wild, man. And then it just kind of came to a screeching halt when people stopped buying records. And in between that time, while all that was going on, I had a lot of friends that were in music, and one of my friends was Chris Walsh at Remax. And so Chris was, he was in a band. He was in a lot of bands. He was in a lot of really good bands. And so he played drums, and we were just buds. And I hung out with him a lot because in 2002, he finished school. He went to Rutgers and finished school and became a real estate agent, and was like did really well. Like me and my friends, we were ding dongs. He like had a house. He like had like a boat. He like had like, he could buy food and put it in his refrigerator. Like he like had like nice clothes. Like so we'd like hang out with him because he like had his stuff together. We're like, dude, what are we doing this weekend? Let's go to Chris's house. And he had a boat. Did I mention he had a boat? It was awesome. And so we didn't have anything, man. We were just trying to make it work. Anyway, Chris, I know Chris since I'm 15 from music, and we were hanging out, and I kind of would like just told him what was going on. And ultimately, the people were not buying records. It just stopped fast. Like it was crazy. And he was like, you should get your real estate license. And I remember we went and like, I asked him to meet with me. I was like, probably like crying. I was super sad. I'm like, what am I going to do? He's like, you should get your real estate license. And I remember being like, no, anything but that. No, like, no.
Right.
And, I'm a firm believer that like, there's a breadcrumb trail to success, breadcrumb trail to failure. And there was a breadcrumb trail leading to Chris's success. And I said yes. And at the time he was at an indie brokerage. He was we were super young. He was like in talks to buy a Remax brokerage. And he's like, don't tell anyone, but I'm going to buy this Remax brokerage and you should join me. And I'm going to start a real estate team. This is in 2007. And I was like, okay, this is before anyone was even talking about a real estate team. Like he just had so many leads and lead generation systems and opportunity that he wanted someone to run it with. And then that's kind of how I got into it.
So you did that. You started working with, what's that?
Yeah, no, I said, I don't know. Sometimes I'm a high I on the disc profile. I have a hard time like landing the plane. So I try to like stop and let other people talk.
Well, let me help you land that plane, man. So, all right. So you start working with Chris, and, you start hitting it off. And so tell me how you actually started building your business? What was the stages? What were the steps that you had to climb, and what were they? Your success, your rungs.
So Chris was he was doing the deal, man. Like he was listing a lot of houses. This was 2007, 2000. So I got my license in November of 2007. Chris had me on the phones like immediately. Like he had the first thing we did was, I remember he told me, he's like, hey, the first thing we're going to do is you're just going to get in my car. You're going to show up at my house. You're going to get in my car and you're going to follow me around for 30 days. And that was like the most valuable thing I've ever, like, it was awesome. I just did that. Right. And then eventually just did that till like, ultimately I would be with him. He'd be like, hey, okay, these people need to buy a house. I can't help them. You're going to help them. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then he just sat me at, I just did open houses, man. He had listings. He was like one of the first dudes to like, that's before they would like sell. Remember before, this is wild how long ago this was. Before they would like sell you leads on realtor.com and like Zillow, realtor.com was like really the primary one at first. And if you had professional photos, you got so many leads. Like he figured out, if I just take professional photos, if I pay $200 and I have professional photos taken on the MLS, I'm going to get so many leads from realtor.com, like organically.
But nobody would do that. Nobody would do that, Joe. I mean, they didn't want to part with the dough.
People still don't do it, right? So like,
oh shit, right.
So anyway, I was like, he told me this. He was like, dude, if I just take, and if I did, like, this was the beginning of like just doing things different, right? Like I'm on the Zillow agent advisory board. I was just in Scottsdale with like all the C-suite of Zillow, right? Like the co-founder of Zillow, Frank, all these people, right? Like invented Expedia, like all this stuff. And the president of Zillow said something that really stuck with me. She said, you know what? She said, the technology, the MLS, the technology, the consumer experience, it's, to be quite honest, it's dragging, it's lacking, and we're here to speed it up, right? And like Chris saw that super early on, man. He's like, dude, we just have to give the consumer a better experience here. Like, why are we not doing professional photos? And all these leads would come in and he would just give them to me because people would just, it just stood out on realtor.com, and realtor.com hadn't figured out to like charge for those like zip codes or whatever, yet.
Yes.
And so that was it, man. And then I just became the buyer agent. So like all those leads that came in, I would service them, and then I would do all the open houses. And so for my first year, my goal was to do 2 open houses a weekend for the whole year, for obvious reasons, because I thought that's where the buyers are going to be. And I would just sit there. And the crazy part was, if you remember 2008, that's when the market crashed, right? 2008. And I remember everyone, when I got into the real estate industry, you ever show up to a party a little too late and the lights are getting turned on and everyone's leaving and they're out of booze or they're out of food or whatever, and you're like, what's up, guys? And I'm like, dude,
guys, it's a party.
You ever like, I'm from Asbury Park. I've like literally walked into the bar like as Bruce Springsteen is like walking off like the stage. He just like hopped on and everyone's just like leaving. I'm like, what? They're like, oh, Bruce just did like 5 songs. And I'm like, oh, sick. That's what it felt like getting into the real estate industry in 2008, 9, 10. And everyone was like, that's a bad idea. You're dumb. Don't do this. And like, I had already failed at something else. So now people are telling me how I'm going to fail on this new thing that I'm trying. It didn't really feel good, but I just followed that breadcrumb trail. Like Chris was winning. And I just like, one thing I've done well in my career, I think, is I've just like found the people that are winning and just like tried to provide value to them in some way and just like be in the room with them and run with them. And so, during that, we did a bunch of open houses. I met a lot of people. And then ultimately this thing called short sales happened. And I remember all the realtors that were in the business from 2004, 5, 6, like, we can have a whole conversation about the cycles of a real estate market. We're going through it now. Right. But like what's happening is what happened to me, which I didn't realize was happening to me, and I wouldn't really understand the effects of it for years later, was I was going through a real estate cycle, right? And I was getting in. Most people get in when it's good and leave. I got in when it was bad. And so I got to gain market share throughout that entire thing. And then when the market turned, my business just exploded because I was in it when it was bad. And so Chris was like, hey man, there's this thing called short sales. We're going to be short sale agents, right? We're going to align with banks. We're going to prospect for people that are in trouble. Anyone that has a hardship, we're going to let them know that they don't have to foreclose. Like we're going to go out and help people. And that's what we did. We got really purposeful with short sales. And I remember in the middle of the winter, we were at like the Monmouth Mall and we were like putting flyers on people's cars. Like, are you upside down on your mortgage? And people were like, This is what we used to do with punk music, man. Like, this is how we used to promote our bands. Like, this
I
is the
remember
same
it.
thing, right?
Yeah.
So we were just doing the same things in real estate. So we're like handing out flyers, like, come to my show, come to my show. Are you are you at risk of losing your house? Call me. And so people started calling us, and we got super grassroots with it. And we would just go meet with people, and we got a short sale attorney, several, right? And we understood how to do short sales, and we were listing tons of them, and we had so much inventory. And with so much inventory, you have so many buyers, right? And I was always busy, man. People talk about that time like nothing was going on, and it's like,
Yeah.
I was always busy, man. And I think I came from like, I came from, I don't know, came from blue collar family. Like, I had an awesome work ethic. Nothing was ever handed to me. I had some struggle. I had some grit. And it was funny when everyone was leaving, they were like, all the agents were like mad. They're like, yeah, this is a lot of work. Like, they didn't want to do any work. Like, they're like, this
Exactly.
used to be easy. And I'm like, yo, nothing's ever been easy for me. This is what we have to do. I'll just go do it. Like, what, you have to do work? Big deal. Like, I'll show up and go to work because that's kind of what you do to make money, I've always thought. And so we just showed up and we did the work, and it showed up, man. And we helped so many people, man. And it was crazy when the market turned. Everyone who we helped not foreclose on their house got back on their feet, called us, right? And then all the people that we helped get into those houses started growing families. They called us, and then it just was like boom. And it was like, holy crap. You know how they said it's gradual and then it's sudden? For me, it was sudden. And then in 2013, 14, 15, 16, I think it just exploded. And then so in 2000, I went from, I will say this. I think there was this part where like I was at Chris. This thing happens when you do. I'm just gonna say it, man. I'm very straight shooter, right? Agents go from excited and grateful to entitled very quickly, right?
Yeah,
and I was one of those agents, right? And so, Chris, if you're listening, man, I've already had this conversation with you. Thanks for everything. So there came a day where I was like, I know everything. I need to start my own thing. I'm out of here. Blah, 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 blah. And I did that, and it was it still happens, man. You get a little bit of juice, you think you got it and whatever. And ultimately I made a move to the Red Company, right? And then I went there, and that was really cool, and became like the top whatever team in that office we were in. And I ran the MREA model, right? Like, I was a lead listing agent, right? I had 2 buyers agents, and I had an admin, right? And I ran that model for several years. And I got to the point in 2015 where I did it again. I was like, I'm so smart. I need to go do something else. I was like, and so it was cool. I wanted the Red Company, that KW company. I like, people talk about drinking the Kool-Aid, like, oh, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. I was like making the Kool-Aid. I was like passing it out. Like, I was like in charge. I was like chief Kool-Aid distributor at KW. And so I gave it out to everybody. Excuse me. I did everything. I got a maps coach. I went to family reunion. I did all this. I was in the ALC. I did all these things. If you're a KW person, you know all these acronyms and sayings. And it was cool, man. I really wanted to be like, I wanted to be Mark Willis. I wanted to be that person who like built the company. And I was offered a role as a regional recruiter in the Maryland, DC region, and what I thought was an opportunity, like a 5% ownership of a market center. Like, at the time, I was like, that's awesome. You learn later when you look at the books that it wasn't that great of an opportunity.
No.
And then, and anyway, man, I went down there, and so I leveraged myself out of my real estate team and hired someone to come and run it. And then I went to go work. It was in Baltimore, was our office, and we worked in the Maryland, DC region. And it was wild. My wife's from California. I'm from New Jersey. I met my wife in music. We fell in love. She moved to New Jersey, stayed there for 10 years, right? Our goal was to get back to the West Coast for her. Also, California is cool because it has like surfing and fish tacos and like, I don't know, really cool stuff like that, like beaches and palm trees and all that stuff. So we had just had our first son. Our son was like 1.5. I got this opportunity. And by the way, I took a massive pay cut to go and do this role in Maryland. Massive. And I saw it as Man, I saw it as a huge learning opportunity. I was coming from like my curiosity. I wanted to learn. I wanted to model it after. And that region was that, by the way, that Maryland DC region was the number one. That was the number one region in profitability and growth in the company. And so I was aligned with the regional director and things like that. And the top team leader was in that market. Dude Vlad, who like was awesome and who's at EXP now, by the way. And so but anyway, I was in Baltimore for a few months. My wife came down. We were under contract to buy a house we were like a row home, like in
Yep.
Canton or Brewers Hill or one of those like neighborhoods. And they put us up in like an Airbnb while we were like under contract. And I was working. My wife came down. We rented out our house in Asbury Park and put a renter in there. And I don't know, just Baltimore is not the Jersey Shore. It's not Orange County, California.
No,
our car got broken into the first day we were there.
That's exciting.
Kid got shot the next week, like the next block over, like a kid coming home from the bar. And we were just like shell shocked. We were like, wow, we are like suburban nerds from the beach. Like, I don't know if this is for us. And my wife asked me, she said, all of our stuff was in a pod. She's like, can we just move to California, please, right now? And I was like, well, the first thing she said, she's like, I don't like it here. And I was like, yeah, I don't like it here either. And not to beat up them, there's some really great things about Baltimore, man. There really are. Camden Yards is sweet. Crab cakes rule, but it just wasn't for us, man. And so we just called it, man. You know, I was within my first 90 days in that role. And I believe when you're in your first 90 days of any role, you're kind of just figuring it out, seeing if you're a fit.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
And hey, you know what? This is for me. And then we just totally just hightailed it to California. And that was it, man. And then so we got there, and that was 2018. And around that time, our buddy Dave reached out to me about EXP, and I was just ready for a change. I just made a change, and so I moved to EXP. And yeah, man, it's funny, when I got to California, I was like, all right, I'm gonna run a team here. I'm gonna run a team there. And even when I got to California, by the way, I was going to run one team. I was like, opened up a team in LA. I opened up a team in This is insane, by the way. I've never sold a house in either of these areas, right? But I'm like, I'm going to do a team. You talk about Los Angeles and Orange County. This isn't like I'm opening up a team the next county over or even the next state over. This was like uncharted territory. And so, you know, they say you chase 2 rabbits, you catch 0. I was like chasing a bunch of rabbits, not catching anything. And then I kind of had to make a decision to, I caught a lot, you know, I shut down the LA things, ended as fast as it started, you know. Imagine you're like at the Jersey Shore and you're like, I'm going to just start a team in New York City. That's insane. That's like what I did. I was like, cool, I got it. LA, I got it. And ultimately Orange County, I picked a really small, it's really about volume there, not really units, because the price point's so high. So I picked like I picked a high price point area and broke into it. And the first year it was bad. Like those high price, it's hard to break into them, man. It takes a lot of money. And so I learned a lot. That first year I did a lot of prospecting. I was lucky enough. Like, I think I got like maybe like 1 expired listing a month, which I was super psyched on. Like, I was very proud of that, you know, but to go from doing like X 100 deals to that, I was like, all right, well, but I was very grateful for that. And then I started paying for leads. I started like buying leads and like paying for marketing, and did that for about 12 months. And then the next year I had a massive year in Orange County. And then that became too much. And I had to make a decision on whether I should I had to make a decision whether I needed to be a real estate agent or I needed to run a business. I needed to pick one or the other. And
that's a really big question for a lot of people that they don't understand, right? Run a business or be a real estate agent, broker owner kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So, I think, and I made the decision to run a business. So ultimately, I decided to stop selling houses. I'm not going to sell houses. 2019, I partnered up. I have a partner in New Jersey who's from the business world. He's not a realtor. Came in and, you know, I had this vision about, we work heavily with like internet connections from the Zillow Flex program, where I saw this opportunity with Zillow Flex and EXP. I explained it to my business partner and he got it, and he's from outside real estate. And so that's what we decided to do. I think there's 2 opportunities in real estate in our lifetime that if you grab them and grab a hold of them, they're good. It's going to be really, really something else. And I don't think they'll come along ever again. And I think it's the Zillow Flex program, channel partners in general, like these, these big platforms. Zillow owns top of funnel. There were 6 million sales in the United States last year. 4.5 million of those were registered users on Zillow, right? And if you go all the way to the bottom of the funnel, they converted 800,000 of those people. There's so much opportunity there, and all the eyeballs of the consumer are there. And the consumer's demanding better. They're demanding better resources. Like, they don't want you to send a drip from the MLS, right? They're demanding better service, right? I can go on Open Table and I can click a button and I have reservations for tonight for me and my wife. I don't have to talk to anyone. I don't have to deal with anything. Making an appointment to see a house it's so antiquated. It's bonkers. And all that's being changed right now and being disrupted. And I wanted to be aligned with all of that. And the consumer just deserves better. And also with our brokerage at EXP, I was selling houses in California. I couldn't be profitable. I can't have a real estate team on these old models, right? I can't do it with all the fees.
Right.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks when I was sitting in California and I was sitting in, I had a business in New Jersey selling houses. I was sitting in California and I was selling houses, and I had 2 E&O payments. I had 2 caps. You know, I was paying 30 grand cap in New Jersey. We were in Laguna Beach. That's like a high price point. So we were at Big Red Company, where your cap depends on the current,
where you are,
like, the value of homes. So the cap there was 38 grand or something. So me alone, paying like 70 grand to the brokerage to work, right? That's insane. And I was paying 2 E&O payments. Everything was being paid twice. And there's a company on EXP where it's like, yeah, just get your license wherever you want. We're a cloud-based brokerage in the United States, and you can kind of go and sell wherever you want. And it all just makes sense, man. It's perfect. And then, so fast forward, I guess I'll just keep going here, man. Like, Dave DeVoe, who was at Keller Williams, he was in Gary Keller's top 100. My goal was to be in Gary Keller's top 100. I'd never made it, but I told Dave that, and Dave was like, I'm in Gary Keller's top 100. I'll just share with you what I learned. Like, when I go out to the masterminds, and he did, he'd like call me from his hotel and he'd be like, dude, this is what we went over today. I'll send you my notes. He was like an ally of mine. When I started to gain a little traction with KW, I would be on local like panels with him, and I got to meet him, and he was kind of like, like a total rock star. Like, oh my God, will I ever be like this dude? And he made the move to EXP. He asked me if I want to go with him. I said yes. And we went. And yes, since then, I think a lot of people were thinking the same thing I was thinking and Dave was thinking. So when I moved, my phone rang, and I've brought over, as of today, 587 people at EXP. There's 87,000 people in our company. I'm ranked number 103 in influencers, and I'm a part of the beta influencer group. So our company is highly driven by the influencers in our company, and we're able to there's other companies who say they make decisions based on the realtor. Like, we're making the decisions. We're the realtors. Like, we are the ones, I think the difference is, when I work in a brokerage and I have an 80-20 split, and that 20% is going to the regional director and, the whatever, and the owner, like, our splits go to like the agents that we're in business with. Like, our actual revenue goes to them. We all work together. So yeah. So fast forward, I decided I'm running a team in New Jersey remotely. So I am bi-coastal. I go back and forth at my leisure. So I'm going back there next week. We're going to do an onboarding. What we did was when I was a team leader at KW, I was told to recruit. I was told to recruit people, and I was told to bring them in, right? And I was told to bring them in and tell them I was going to help their business. And then when they came in and I tried to help them with their business, they told me I needed to go get more people. Stop helping that person. You need to go get more people, right? And at that moment, my heart fell in my stomach, and I just was like, this isn't what we talked about. This isn't the deal. Like, I was like in the room, I'm like, cool. I would recruit someone over, and I'd be like, dude, and these were like bigger agents. I wasn't talking to like new agents. I was talking to like the bigger agents, And so, and it just didn't feel awesome. Like, I felt like I was just like, I don't know. It just didn't feel awesome, man. And I finally saw what the model was. You want to see how the sausage is made. You want to look underneath the hood. I was able to do that. And that's what I wanted. And I learned a lot. Right. And so now I believe there's like an 87 90% failure rate for new agents as per the NAR. And you know what? That stinks because there's so many talented people that come through our doors that just aren't given an opportunity. And I believe that the grass is green where you water it. And if we really, really love on people, we can get, dude, there's really talented people that are like driving Uber, that are doing Grubhub, that are selling gym memberships, that are serving you your cocktails. And those people would love to like help people in real estate. And those people can build wealth and do all these things. And they're just not given a proper opportunity. And shame on the real estate industry, because the real estate industry promises leads, training, and support. And then once you get in there, they're like, agents are like this. They're like on fire. They're like, what can I do? It's day one. They're like, I don't know. Maybe Mary, do you have an open house this weekend? Maybe Mary has an open house that you can shadow or whatever. Or like, hey,
or let me teach you how to do the forms. Let me teach you how to do a contract. Let me teach you how to do a listing. Well, you don't have shit to do. You're never going to remember it anyway. You do get something, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, man. Like if you want to learn how to surf, get in the water, man. Like jump in the water, get on a board.
Exactly.
You're going to get thrashed, but like learning. And so now I'm super passionate about like that. And so now thanks to our alignment with Zillow, we have more connections. So what Zillow Flex is doing is they're not selling leads to a realtor, which is what they used to do.
Right.
They picked 800 teams in the United States. And basically what it looks like is they have an ISA department that like when the consumer clicks the button about a property, someone at Zillow qualifies them, says, hey, are you interested in seeing this property in the next 48 hours? Yes. Cool. Are you available right now to speak to the realtor that's going to meet you there in the next 40 hours? Yes. Then we get a live connection. Boom. And we have an 80% appointment set rate from all of our calls. And so because of this alignment, very, very strategic alignment, we are now able to bring agents in. We're able to get them onboarded, get them into production, get them profitable fast, and build them a book of business super fast so they can like just be in business, right? And that's like the thing that took me probably like 6 years to do. We have agents coming in and onboarding and getting into production and like offboarding our team in like a year, 2 years, really. And then the cool part is because we're at EXP, they just stay at EXP. And then we help them build their team, their single agent business, their whatever. And yeah, I'll land the plane there. I'll stop right there. That's kind of
so great. Is it perfect segue into, you've got new agents coming in, you're giving them, they're giving them the Zillow leads, right? And you're teaching them how to do them, right?
Correct.
What about when an agent wants to be a listing agent? They want to start getting listings. What is the process that you go by at the Oz Group to facilitate that desire?
Yeah, good question. That's a really great question. So first of all, by the way, when everyone comes in, like your phone's going to ring. So with great power comes great responsibility. Our alignment with Zillow is not like, it's not like a friendship. What's up, bro? Like I meet with them every week. They have their gun at my back and they're like, dance, monkey boy, dance, create revenue, right? Like that's what it is. And so like we have to we watch, like that's what the relationship is. So we do an onboarding every single month, right? I'll be in New Jersey this week. We're doing an onboarding and it's Monday through Friday. It's 9 to 1. It's in person, belly to belly, right? Corporate style training, classroom environment. We take you through culture. Then we take you through high sales acumen, right? Your phone's going to ring. How do I set an appointment? What do I do when I get to that appointment? How do I introduce myself to a brand new client from the internet? How do I tour a property at an extremely high level? How do I set the next appointment? How do I get them in touch with my lender? How do I write an offer at an extremely high level? When they bring up that they have a house to sell, which that's the secret, all these connections that are coming through, everyone's like, it's funny, man. No one's thinking about selling their house. Like they're not afraid of selling. Dude, remember Dave, there was a time when people were like, Joe, do you think someone will buy my house? Remember when people used to say that shit? And you'd be like,
yes,
and sometimes they didn't. Sometimes they expired, right? It wasn't always, but I'm like, oh my God, I need to remember when you'd have to like get them to re-sign the listing after 6 months? Like,
yes.
That's what it was like, right? So now the consumer's not worried about selling their house. They know that if this microphone listed their house, they'd have 20 offers, right? So they're not concerned about selling their house. You know what they're concerned about?
Finding a house.
Where they're going to go. So the crazy part is they're coming through with Zillow. And a lot of these consumers, they're very unhappy with any representation that they've received from realtors they've met out in the wild. And they're calling Zillow and they're like, hey man, can I go see this house? And the crazy part is we just go meet them. Like we facilitate the appointment. And when we get there, we qualify them. That's in person, face to face, right?
Oh, you mean you're not qualifying them on the phone, Joe?
So Dave, when you if you want to go buy a brand new BMW, right? Brand new BMW, and you call up the dealership and you're like, hey, do you have those new BMWs in stock? The salesperson, what's the next thing that he says?
Says, yeah.
Come on down, dude. Take it for a ride, bro. Like, yeah, come on. I got to get you in this thing. If that salesperson was like, yeah, I got him. What's your credit score? How much money do you have?
Thank you.
How much money do you make, right? So like, think about how that makes that person feel, right? And so for years, no one understood that. Chris taught me that. 2008, dude, just go meet him. Just go meet him. Like, we're not going to give that. Like, what happens is the legacy agent scoffs at that. They're like, ugh, if you're not, hey man, why don't we seek to understand rather than to be understood?
Good.
Why don't we just go meet people? It's about like, why don't we go say hello? Hey, like, you're not better than them. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go off on a tangent. You're not better than them. You're not too good. But anyway, what happens is all those people, when you go meet them and you show up and you're trained, you've been through our onboarding, you know the scripts, you understand them. We're a team. We've done 90 deals this year, written and closed, right? And we're all brand new agents, bro. I'm not in production. I do not sell houses. There's team leaders that are like, we've done 100 deals, and I've got like 50 under my belt with 2 showing assistants. That's not what's happening, right? That's the beautiful thing. So what happens is when we show up, we have the conversation, because we're talking to so many people and doing so many deals, and because we're on 3 trainings a week, because we have one-on-one coaching every single week with all of our agents. We have a Slack channel, a university. We're all communicating. We know what's going on in the market. We can talk about it at a really high level. Like, we're very, very impressive because we understand what's happening. We're writing 10 to 15 offers every single week, and we know what's happening, what's working, what's not working. So we get in front of the consumer. They're like, well, yeah, we really like this house, but we have a house to sell and we don't know what to do. And then guess what, man? The level of success that agents are going to have from this day forward is going to be in direct correlation to the problems that you solve and the level that you can communicate them. It's going to be about emotional intelligence at an extremely high level.
So say that again. So I'm going to repeat it. So the success that agents are going to have.
So what's going to happen is now is I used to get hold on, I'm going to record this in case I say something awesome.
I'll send you the copy of this, right? So the success that agents have.
So what happened was this is I used to get paid. I always say this, the days of putting a search in the MLS and having it spit out a $10,000 paycheck, those are over. It's done. I'm sorry. It was awesome. I loved it, right? But that's over. And then the legacy agent is like scoffing at it and mad and angry and blah, blah, blah. There's a whole group of people that are coming in and they want to go to work. It's like Joe Oz in 2008. We want to go to work and we want to put in the work. And we want to help people, right? We want to put people first. And now what's happening is the modern agent, right? The modern realtor, their success is going to be in direct correlation to the problems that they solve and the level in which they can communicate those solutions. This is very, very high level emotional intelligence, right? And emotional intelligence is understanding how someone feels and being able to address it. And so I need to, right now, this is the number one thing. Yeah, you know what? I have to sell a house, and I need to buy a house, right? So I'm in Orange County right now, right? People have a lot of money here. They like move out of their house, go buy the other one cash, and then call their realtor and be like, oh yeah, we got a house over in Laguna Niguel. It's vacant. Can you just list it and get rid of it? Right? Where we're at in New Jersey, that's really not the case, man. It's middle class, upper middle class. We have some luxury stuff. That's cool. But ultimately, most people can't just like move out of their house, go buy another one, and then sell their
They got to do the cycle. They got to go through the cycle.
Correct. And there's ways to do that. And we have solutions, right? And so now our team is we're finding off-market properties, we're prospecting, circle prospecting. We're finding buyers and sellers from our Zillow leads, and we have an off-market Slack channel with like a sheet where we enter all of our off-market properties, where if you have a new buyer who's looking in Howell, we can go to our off-market and we might be able to just match them up to someone that needs to sell their house, right? And that way, if we can match them off-market, then they don't have all the timelines and contingencies and stress that's required, to enter the market, right? And so we can find solutions. We had someone with like a special needs child, right? And we needed to we had a listing. We got them a 90-day closing, and then we did like a 90-day rent back. They didn't need that. They didn't need all that time, right? But what we were able to do is we were able to manage their expectations, keep them comfortable, find solutions, and then we found a buyer. We had a stack of offers. We had all the leverage. We were able to communicate like, hey, man, you're living at home? Oh, great, cool. Can you just give us some room here? It's your house, blah, blah, blah. We need 90 days. If we don't hit that, then we're going to close and we need to rent back. And we got them a rent back for free. Like they didn't even pay for their rent back. And we went and found another house. So this is the work. I think this is the work that realtors were not used to doing, man. And they're legacy realtors like mad. And we're willing to come in and do it and put in the work.
That is like the essential of everything. I mean, one of the things that we work on a daily basis with the people we work with, the agents we work with, is that we believe that the MLS is the last thing you need to go to find what you're looking for. I mean, like you said, the days of like having them spit out shit to people and send them listings, that's over. I mean, it's the work and how you're going to do the work and what you're able to do as far as being different than everybody else. I mean, that's really the key. Is how you're going to work with people.
Like, I used to get away with, oh, did you get that list of houses I sent you? By the way, that was like an automatic trip that went out at midnight, right? Like, did you get those houses that I sent you? Now it's like, hey, I just showed the house that came on the market that you saw, that you liked on Zillow. I just took a reel of it and I'm going to send it to you right now. I thought you might want to see the layout. That's what's winning over the consumer. And dude, we've been paid really high commissions for a really long time, man. And that's the service of the consumer. Right now they want it. In 2 to 3 years, they're going to demand it.
So do you see, okay, let me go back, right? So one of the things that we're seeing today, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we're seeing what you did back in 2008, and the people getting into business now are seeing the difficulties, but they're going to learn through it. One of the things I saw over the past, let's say 10 years, is that people right before pandemic, whatever they learned, they forgot what they learned because they were so busy just being order takers, right? What you learned in 2008, what you are learning today, you've actually been able to apply what you got there and put it all together and to see the change in the evolution of our business, which is really, really so cool. I mean, I just got to say that again. The success of the real estate agent is going to be a direct correlation to the problems they solve, to the level in which they can communicate those solutions. I get that right?
Hell yeah.
That's just that's
it's hard. It's hard, man. Yeah, it's hard. It's not easy. Like to say, okay, like you have to slow all the way down. Like I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm here to help you through a process now. And like we're like, all right, sell. Do you want to buy it? Do you want to write? Do you want to write? Should we buy it? Should we make an offer? And it's like, hold on. Okay, cool. All right, we have a house to sell. Okay, let's think about this. Like you gotta solve the problem, man. And there are solutions. And what happens is I think, dude, in real estate, man, it's high ego. It's like, we think about ourselves and we put ourselves first and our commissions and that. And a lot of agents come from scarcity. They're not doing the amount of deals they need to be doing because of this. It's like a vicious cycle. And if we just make it about the other person. Like our mission statement at the Oz Group is the Oz Group exists to help our clients achieve their goals while helping our team members achieve theirs. And what that really looks like is it's just thinking about the other person. If we help the other person get what they want, we don't ever have to worry about getting what we want.
So the biggest question, Joe, that we'll get from our agents or the people that we're helping is, okay, so I'm going to call for sale by owners. I'm going to call expireds, and I'm going to talk to buyers and settle and et cetera. And I've got these scripts that everybody tells me that I should be learning. So how do you take that to figure out what the problems are and not sound like, I mean, let's face it, you're calling it for sale by owner, you're calling it expired. How do you change the narrative to I care?
Good question.
What's the dialogue? What's the change in tone, tune, pace, all that shit?
I think people get it, man. They can tell. Man. Like, and I think it starts with a face-to-face interaction. You're not, oh my God, when I see these agents, they're trying to sell over the phone. It's brutal, man, right? The script is this, man. Like, hey, I saw your house expired over on 123 Banana Street. I do a lot of business in that area. I was looking to see if you were still looking to sell that property, right? And if they say a buying question, right? I'm not going to train on buying questions now, but like, you know, you can tell by their voice. They're like, yeah, you know what, like, cool. If they say yes or any indication, you're like, great. You know what? My team and I'm the Zillow Premier agent in your zip code. Like, I'm going to get phone calls about your house no matter what from buyers. I just wanted to see if you would be a seller. If you had, you know, if the right buyer came along and they're willing to pay market value or above, are you a seller in this market? And by the way, I'm not trying to list your house. I'm just trying to see if I can help you or if this thing is going to be sold ever again, or if you want to sell it. They say yes, you'd be like, great, cool, awesome. Again, I'm not asking you to list your house. I was never inside your house for some reason. I don't know if it was marketed correctly, but it just didn't hit my radar, which is kind of crazy. Maybe that's why it didn't sell. I'd love to take a quick walkthrough of the property just to see my buyers they really trust that I know my inventory and I know the products that I'm bringing to them. My team and I sell like 2 to 3 houses a month that are not on the MLS for this exact reason. I just have to know the inventory. I'm wondering if I can come by and just see the house. Maybe I'm actually showing houses in your neighborhood on Saturday at 10 and then again at 2 p.m. Which one of those times would be better for you? And that's it, man. Just go meet them and just meet them and talk to them and then listen to their problems.
So I want everybody and anybody that is still watching this broadcast, whether you're watching it live, go back, rewind the last 5 minutes. And I want you to listen to it over and over and over again, because what you've just done is you've taken a simple, okay, I'll call it a script, and you've turned it into a care and a concern conversation. And that's what the majority of agents are not getting. They're not getting that training. And that's why, as far as your onboarding system and how you bring in new agents is freaking killer. That's why it works so well. That's why you have agents producing, you know, within a couple of weeks. It's just really, really amazing. So, I mean, when you're a new agent, what do you think is the most important thing, Joe?
Leads.
Okay, so I don't have any leads. I'm all by myself. My broker said they were going to do this, that, and the other thing. My question always is, who's standing next to you to support you in your business? And the answer 99 times out of 100 is nobody.
Yeah.
How do you get the leads if you're all on your own?
Yeah, you got to join a team, man. I mean, I joined a team. I think listen, man, we interview a lot of realtors. We brought 50 agents on last year. We like offboarded half of them. Like they just want, like we opened up the floodgates. We like let everybody into the party. Like somebody had a gun, somebody like is sleeping on the couch. Like we let too many people in. But now like we're more selective about who we bring in now. But like ultimately, we brought on a lot of people, which means we interviewed a lot of agents. All the agents that are interviewing, I ask them, they're like, hey, we started asking this question. What other brokerage are you interviewing at? Do you know what their answer was?
What?
None? We're not interviewing at brokerages. We're interviewing teams. And I was like, that was like the biggest aha of 2022 for me or whatever. I was like, that's it. They see the value. They see the value of the team, right? They understand it, right? So no one's calling Coldwell Banker. No one's calling Keller Williams. No one's calling EXP. They're like, I think obviously I think EXP is on a lot of people's, like the cloud-based brokerage thing makes a lot of sense. It's the one that's like on everyone's radar, but like they're not specifically trying to go to EXP. And then they know that it's like who they align with at that brokerage. So they all tell me like we're interviewing teams, and it's funny where we're at. All the best teams are at EXP. So they're just like, they're other EXP teams. They're like, oh, like, and they'll even like they'll talk about, and then the agents, the world's getting smaller, right? Technology and everything's just making the world. So yeah, people are like, yeah, you know, we're interviewing at the Sakura group, or interviewing at, whatever, the mall, whatever. And I'm like, cool, man, dude, as long as you're at EXP. Oh my God, that's awesome. But yeah, and then what it comes down to is like, when I would go on a listing appointment, they'd be like, well, we're interviewing 4 realtors. And I'm like, great. Interview 4 realtors and just hire the one you feel. And I would ask them who they are. And then most of the time, if they're interviewing 4, if they're smart enough to interview 4 realtors, they did their research and they're interviewing 4 really good ones, right? So a lot of times I'd be like, who are you interviewing? And they'd be like, this person, this person, this person. I'd be like, wow, you've got a really great list of options. I would highly recommend interviewing everyone, just working with who you feel comfortable with. And that was it, man. And I won some, I lost some, but you know what I mean? And it's the same thing with agents. It's like, hey, yeah, you should go interview 3 teams, and then, and you should, and by the way, if you interview with 3 teams, if agents, I hope you're listening to this, brand new agents, when you're interviewing with teams or brokerages or whatever, say, hey, whatever they promise you or they say they're going to do, be like, great. Can you connect me with 2 agents that have succeeded in that model in the last 6 months? Can I talk to them, please?
Wow. That's
right. And that's what I would do in listing appointments. I'd be like, all right, cool. Hey, Mary, these are the 5 houses I sold like in your town, or hopefully it was in the neighborhood, but if not, I'd go out. But these are the 5 people whose houses I've sold in your in Asbury Park, New Jersey in the last 2 years. They totally are open to you calling them and just asking them how their experience was. And no other agents were doing that. They're like, oh shit, you're giving me references? And I'm like, you're damn right I am. And so, and then that kind of worked. And so that, we don't think about these things, man. You just join a brokerage and but like the newer agents now, when I got into real estate, it wasn't sexy. That's why like when Chris was like, you get your real estate license, I was like rolling my eyes. I was like, it was like a minivan, part-time,
right.
Whiker. It was just like not cool, man. And then since then, there's like bigger pockets. There's like, it's on TV, it's reality television. And people understand that there's the most wealthy people I've ever met, it's through real estate. And it's not through selling real estate, but you can get in your foot in the door and understand it through that. And so now the people that are entering into real estate right now, they're young people. They're super smart. They're very savvy. They've done their research. They've watched their YouTube videos. They're following people. They're liking things. They're interacting. They're DMing, and they're really, 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 really smart, man. They know their shit. So I don't know. The next generation of realtors that are coming up are going to be sharp. They're going to be super competitive, and ding dongs like me that were like putting searches in the MLS and waiting for them to spit out a paycheck. Those people are not going to last.
So those, you know what, Joe, I think those days are going to dwindle, but like you say, let's use the great word, the legacy agent. They're still going to be doing that, and they're still going to be teaching that. And that's a problem in my opinion, where I think that that's when I look at the typical legacy brokerages are broken. They don't work. They just don't work anymore. The days, I mean, look, I had a brokerage for 21 years. And the reason I walked away from it is because I had 60 agents and 3 would listen, 3 would do the work, another 3 would do pretty well. And everybody else is like, I was there for them and I worked for them rather than us all working together. And you know what? We're having a party. We're going out to drink. They're coming. Otherwise, they ain't showing up or doing shit. Those days are over, right? And, I always said, I want to work with the agents that want to work. I want to work with the people such as Joe Oz that want to work. I mean, that's why I am in the same organization as you are, EXP, because of the collaborative effect and how you can get help from anybody else. And you know what? Everybody wants you to succeed. Everybody's your cheerleader. I'm your cheerleader, man. And just, know what? This has been a really great broadcast, as all of them are. But the thing is that the experience that you've shown and you've talked about today I'm sure will be helpful to a lot of people that watch this later on or have watched it now. So we're getting up on time, man. If there is one thing that you would tell an agent, whether they're new or not, that the way for them to break through to succeed, what would that be?
Find a mentor that cares about you, like really cares about you, and is going to pour into you, right? Because what happens is when someone succeeds at a really high level, money and whatever, that doesn't really fulfill them. Like helping other people is what fulfills them. The secret that I learned is like really, really successful people want to give back and they want to help the next person. And I was so afraid to ask for help. And I was so afraid to now I just do it. I'm like, they say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I'm like the squeakiest wheel you've ever heard. Right. Like, so I'm knocking down everybody's doors. I'm getting in the rooms I'm not allowed to be in, like with all, and that's it. And then the second part of that is find yourself a mentor or coach. Just have like 2 or 3 of them, because we got to communicate. Proximity is super important. And the person that's your mentor, please, man, just make sure they're validated. They should have done or be doing the thing that you want to do. If they like heard how to do it, or they think they can do it, or they saw someone do it, that's not the right person.
That's great. It's great, man. Look, I got 2 more things for you real quick. Again, super thanks. How can I help you grow your business?
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, we're in love with the brand new agent, or maybe the agent that got disengaged. Like any this is my Instagram right here. You can just DM us, send me a rocket ship if you want to talk about getting into business together, right? Send me a rocket ship emoji. But basically, like when we hear, all I hear from team leaders and brokers is like, ugh, new agents, ugh, new. But if you're a new agent, or if you're an agent within if you're thinking about getting your real estate license, if you're a new agent, if you're within your first 12 months of selling real estate and it's not working out where you were, if they promised you leads, training, and support, and it's not happening, just shoot me a message because we'll come grab you. I don't sell houses. I help agents, and super passionate about it. And that's how you can help me, man. Just spread the word. We are in Middlesex, Monmouth, and Ocean County, New Jersey, and we're expanding throughout the rest of the state. So we have more connections from highly motivated consumers than we know what to do with. And if you want to help some people, please shoot me a rocket ship emoji DM.
Hey man, thank you so much. And I have one last thing. And I think you know what it is. I want to thank you so much for coming on. Everybody that comes on this broadcast.
Finally.
Gets a hat.
I need the merch.
You're getting it, buddy. You're getting it. Hey, I want to thank everybody for watching this broadcast, whether you watched it live or whether you watched it later on. I just want to let you know we got another great broadcast coming up next week. We've got Nick Krem coming on, who's the co-founder and president of Content Cards, as well as a lot of different things that Nick does. He works with the top 1% in marketing, also in Honey Badgers as well, which is right with Fast Forward movement. We look forward to seeing you. Hey, Joe, stay on just for a quick second. Just stay on for a quick second. We're going to go off. We'll see everybody next week. It'll be at our usual time at 11 a.m. Eastern. Joe, thank you so much. It's been a blessing to have you on. God bless you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in a minute. Hit the video.